Good evening, Simon here, Explosive Action, back for another metal vinyl update. I've got 1 dozen Death and Grind vinyls to look at today, so let's get into it. Got some absolute cracking albums in this update. Like I said, there's 12, a dozen of death metal, death grind, gore grind, all that kind of good stuff. So let's get into the first one here, which is particularly excellent and very much a quiet release. I don't think many people have been talking about this one. This is fantastic. This is Tymvos with World of Abominations. Man, this is the bolt thrower worship that you have been looking for, but it's also as much benediction subconscious terror, like that 1990 style of UK death metal. Bit of Blessed Are the Sick, Morbid Angel chucked in there as well. Early sort of chunky, groovy bass death metal. It's just got like eons and eons worth of double bass drums in this as well. Absolutely fantastic. But what I really, really like is there's heaps of toms, lots of tom fills, and they sound just like 1990. Like the drum production on this thing is stellar. It sounds exactly like you want. I can't think of many other albums that have got such a perfect drum production that takes you right back to 1990, 1991, that kind of period of just early death metal. It is fantastic sounding stuff. And it's not, doesn't sound simulated or anything. It's just completely authentic. Like someone's gone back in time and hit record on an old drum kit. I think it sounds amazing. The vocals as well, they're deep and guttural, but they're easily discernible in that sort of old Dave Ingram style. Again, Benediction, and a little bit of that Barney Greenway when he was in Benediction as well. That kind of. I'm saying Benediction a lot because, god damn, the influences are on the sleeve here, and the band's from Scotland, so they're on the United Kingdom, and yeah. I think they've listened to a lot of that early stuff. It comes through. It's so good. I like the cover too, the cover and the logo. It's like, it's again of that time. Like it's not. I don't know how do I say it. Like it's not. The world's most gorgeous, stunning, hang on your wall artwork. It's not that kind of artwork. I mean, I love it, but it is exactly what you would get on that 1990 kind of death metal cover. You look at it and go, yeah, that tells you what you're going to get, but it's also not the most beautiful woman in the room. But certainly she gets the job done. Mid bass throughout this thing, no blasting. It's just that like completely authentic OSDM because it just sounds like it's been an old. This sounds exactly like I picked up a record from 1990 that I've never heard of before and popped it on. That's what I've got here. Nothing here even sounds like it's trying to sound new. So, I'm loving it. I really am. And did I mention those drums? I think I did because they're fantastic. But the bass guitar, very flappy. Flappy is the word for this one. It's just just flappy. I don't know what else to call it. I have no idea, but it just sounds like really loose strings and just flapping in the breeze. It sounds great. It's quite prominent. And yeah, I think honestly, this is one of the sleeper hits of the year. If you just want something that just says death metal between inverted quotes like that, Tymvos, World of Abominations, so good. The only downside after me talking about this thing is the record, the LP version was limited to 100. And I got the last one as far as I could tell. I saw this on an update from, I think it was Liam, Death Doom Metalhead. I think I saw that and went, man, he's talking this up. Went and listened to it, went, he's absolutely right. And went on their Bandcamp and they had one. I'm like, okay, grabbed it, and then it's been zero ever since. However, you can get CD and tape, plenty of those. One of the China labels, is it Hanquang? I don't know how you say that one. I think it's them, have done the CD. Can't be sure who did the tape. But the LP came out on Macho Records, which I get is just a limited run because it's not their label or anything. These guys are a very independent band. Take a look inside. You get the thanks list and the lyrics. All good stuff. And whoop, I need to replace the inner. It's starting to pop out the bottom a little bit. And a nice green looking LP that matches the front cover very, very nicely. Like it matches the sphere thing here in the center the skeletons are worshipping. So Look, this is just fantastic. Yeah, you can't get the LP now. Maybe try a distro, try the secondhand market. But if you're happy with CD, definitely pick this one up. Tymvos, World of Abominations, for all your death metal classic needs. Next up, we have a really fantastic dark death metal band that come out of Oregon in the USA. And I say that like I know my American geography. I don't know where anything is in your country. Witch Vomit with Funeral Sanctum. And that one's got some pretty glorious cover work too. Witch Vomit, if you don't know, I mean, they're a great name. Such a great name. It kind of, like the name Witch Vomit, though, does make you think you're going to get sort of bestial Black Death or something. But it's not. It's very far removed from that. But the band is made up of members of Torturak and Apraxic, grindcore band. Again, nobody talks about Apraxic very much, but they're really good. For me, Witch Vomit is the star act of those bands. Absolutely. I jumped on board with these guys at the start with the debut, A Scream from a Tomb Below in 2016. Got that one on CD. I would very much like the LP, but I think it was through Prosthetic or something like that. Very hard to get now. Not been reissued. I've been following them ever since. And that particular album, I mean, that was an excellent take on dark death metal. 2016, that full death metal revival, whatever you want to call that, was kind of in its infancy, really. That was kind of the start of it, really. That's when your Vastums and that kind of stuff were really starting to churn things out. But I've really enjoyed everything the band has been putting out since then, but it never quite got to A Scream from a Tomb Below for me again. Until now, Funeral Sanctum here may very well top that debut for me. As I said, all the other stuff's been good. They've had, I think, 2 full lengths and an EP in there. It's all been solid. I've liked all of it, but I always keep going back to the first album. Now I've been playing this thing relentlessly. The band have just, I want to say, really evolved. I think they just incorporated a few more things into their sound. This is a band that clearly digs into the old sort of Immolation and Dead Congregation style. That's obvious, but what I'm hearing on Funeral Sanctum is a lot more early Finnish death metal, which I wasn't picking up on the previous album. Definitely getting that vibe this time. We'll take a look at the back here. There's the guys looking incredibly death metal. They even look like Dead Congregation. I mean, look at that stuff. It's fantastic. On here, I think it's Serpentine Shadows, that particular track. When that one came on for me for the first time, I had the promo for this for a little bit longer than the LP. And when that first came on, I'm like, this sounds like Demigod or the old Cartilage demo, the one that did the split with Altar. Man, I don't want to quite say blatant, but it was obvious the Fin Death had started creeping into Witch Vomit here. That more drawn out guitar riff and bigger, more bombastic kind of drums, and just adding to the whole gloom of the thing. There's still other tracks on here, like the one before it, Blood of Abominations. Blood of Abominations, great title. That one's more shorter, sharper, faster, a lot more grave kind of influence, I'd say, in that one. More of a standard approach track. There's another one here, Decaying Angelic Flesh, the last track on side A. That's kind of a mix between the two styles. A little bit of Swede in there, a bit of Finnish in there, and a whole bunch of that dark American style at the same time. So, yeah, it's quite a mix through all the tracks. But what really stands out for me on this one is that the songs are all discernible. That they've all got their own sound to them. It's not this is one of those rare albums for me where I can go, oh, that's that track. Now with modern death metal, I think a lot of people agree. You put the album on, you just enjoy it from start to finish and go, I really like that album by Witch Vomit, Funeral Sanctum. What's your favorite song? The whole album's good. That's a good response for a lot of death metal these days. Bit different to the old days of like Altars of Madness when you go, yeah, Chapel of Ghouls, bang, whatever. Not so much these days, and that's not a slack. That's not me harping on about it or being negative or anything. That's how I listen to records anyway. But every now and then you do get something like this where you can find a track on it and that particular track sticks with you. And that's what I've been finding with Funeral Sanctum. So, yeah, great stuff. It's lumbering, it's dark, but everything's got hooks and a little bit of melody in there that always makes me go, oh, I know what song this is. So, yeah, the only downside is it's only damn 30 minutes long. Definitely could have done another song on here, maybe cracked it to 40 minutes, but on the plus side, it never outstays its welcome. Every track on here is golden. It's an excellent album. You're definitely going to be seeing this one on my end of year list. You're going to be seeing that Tymvos in my end of year list quietly as well. So, we're definitely getting to that time of year where things are starting to firm up places, I think. We've still got half a year to go too, so you never know. But anyway, Witch Vomit here, it's fantastic. It's definitely one of the highlights, and for me, is the only album that is at least on par with the debut, if not eclipsing it. We will see by the end of the year if I think this one eclipses it. There's the hype. As I said before, I try and transplant them if I can. Just went black. It's on $20 spin, so there was probably 400 different color variants. But there's the with the lyrics and the band again. All songs written by Witch Vomit. What a sentence that is! And huge poster thing. We won't get all the way out, but it's the cover artwork. That would look very nice on a wall, to be honest. So yeah, highly recommend Witch Vomit with Funeral Sanctum. If you've never tried a Witch Vomit album, I have no hesitation in recommending this as a starting point. Excellent album, great cover artwork, top quality stuff from Witch Vomit. The next one I'm not going to say much about because I did a full-length review on the Heavy Metallurgy. It was my latest review from a month ago or so at this point. So I'm just going to leave a link in the description for you to go check that one out. But the band is Engulfed, the new album, Unearthly Litanies of Despair, and it is an absolutely phenomenal death metal album. Go just check out my full-length review, please, because I do go into it track by track, far more detail than I'm going to say here. Short version, this is the Sophomore full-length from this band. They're out of Turkey. They did an album back in, I don't know, it's like 2017 or 16 or something like that, which I've not actually heard. And there was an EP from maybe 2 years ago, I think, which is really sort of almost like a reboot of the band or something like that. That's where I got on with them. And I was really hanging out for full length because the EP was great. And it just blows everything else away. It's such a ferocious record. 8 tracks of just savage death metal. It is ruthless and visceral at all times. It's members of Burial Invocation, Hyperdontia, and Diabolizer. I've talked about all those bands before, but Diabolizer, I showed the record maybe a couple of years ago. And that band definitely has the most influence into the Engulfed sound. It is just that, it's like Lucifer or something mixed with like Diabolic. So it's just nasty evil and quite well produced as well. So yeah, bunch of Ataraxy in here. Love that band. People don't talk about them enough. Grave Miasma, that sound is in this mix as well. So yeah, it is an exhausting listen, but it is hugely rewarding. So yeah, Unearthly Litanies of Despair. Don't believe me, believe this guy. He knows what he's talking about. So go check out that guy's review on Heavy Metallurgy. And quickly in here, we'll just take a look at the inners. I'm losing a fly here. What's this fly for? Sanctorium, melted and decomposed. There you go, in Hyperdontia, which is just out now. So there you go. There's the new one from them coming out, which is going to be great. Records on black. And you get a nice matching upside down lyric sheet, which is all red and black. Incredibly Evil, and there's the band. So yeah, really, really good, top quality stuff here from Engulfed. Unearthly Litanies of Despair. Go check out the review. Shortcut is just buy the thing. The next one's another stonkingly great release, and from a band that's been making a few small waves in the underground since their inception. And a band I had the chance to see actually out here in Sydney, maybe 4 years ago at this point. I can't quite remember, maybe 5. It's been a while, which was very surprising because there was by no right should have I had any chance to see this band in Sydney at that time. Now I'm talking about Necrot. This is the new one, A Lifeless Birth. Very surprising to see them out here. It was a low-key tour. It was outstanding. Had Faceless Burial, Vile Apparition, Golgothan Remains. Like, it's just outstanding. And then Necrot. But the venue was crap. Doesn't matter. It was a great night. But this is the album, Lifeless Birth. They've impressed me on all their previous albums. This is their third. And I was just sort of waiting to see if they could top the previous albums. And my God, did they ever top them. I've been kind of waiting for them to do a home run. Like, I've always enjoyed them. But I'm like, also, you guys, I know you can do just an extra 10% and you're just going to blow everyone away. And here we are. They've given that 10. They're given 20%. They're given 50% more. Hell, they're probably given 100% more because Lifeless Birth. This is the Necrot album. If you've never heard Necrot, this is the one I'm going to say. Just start here because this thing rips. The catchiness has been amped up. I think that's really helped. Again, like that Witch Vomit, this is where the songs are all like discernible. You can go, yep, that's that track. I know that one. You can start to know the names of the songs. They all stand out, but not much more than the first track on here. You flip over, to back up, but Cut the Cord. There's your death metal anthem of the year. Just hands down, that is the death metal anthem of the year. If these guys do not open their sets with that song for the rest of their days, this is their Enter Sandman, and I'm not in a shitty way. This is, goddamn, this is the track. They knew what they were doing, and they put that as the first track on here. The chorus, it's standard sort of verse chorus structure. In the chorus, they just sort of shout out, "Cut the cord" at repetition, and I've been singing this shit in the shower. Like it is just, it's a monumental track. So hooky, infectious is the nature of it. But the whole damn thing is good. So it's not like what is it? Vital Remains and Dechristianize. Like that first track is like, man, how are they going to top that? And they never did. They blew it on the first track. Not so with Lifeless Birth. The whole album is great, and then the ending, The Curse, is a great final track to the album. We'll get to that. But yeah, Cut the Cord, so good, just amazing. I reckon they've picked up the hooky side of this. I think they've been listening to, and don't be scared, I think they've been putting in a little bit of the Slaughter of the Soul, that kind of at the gate sort of last, I won't say their last album because they're still going, but you know what I'm talking about, their last 90s album. That kind of hooks and melody and that kind of stuff has started to really get involved in Necrot here, and that helps the song stay quite unique. Because there's always a riff in each song that just makes you go, yep, I know what that one is. And the riff in Cut the Cord. Anyway, so good. To me, this is the kind of death metal that Tomb Mold were on the same trajectory of doing before they went into the more sort of proggy death kind of world. If they stuck with their sound from the first album, they would have ended up as Necrot. That's sort of what I get. It's also the sound that Mortuous continue to bring, which is unsurprising, as the drummer is from Necrot is also in Mortuous, so direct connection. Lots of similarities between those bands. Other band members have been or are in other well-established bands like Acephalux, Vorlust, and the incredibly immense Vastum. All have connections to Necrot, so you're getting well-seasoned death metal players here, and that's why this album's so good. It's their third album under this name, but everyone else has been doing other albums out of other bands as well. So it's just great. The track on here, there's another one here called "Drill the Skull," the end side A track. That's another one that gets stuck in your head, like the drill. The drill gets stuck in your skull like the riffs do. There you go. That's a nice connection. Slow pounding track, that one, with lots of double bass. It's got a dirty tremolo mixed in there with this chuggy riff. It is so good. Then you've got the last track I was talking about, The Curse, on here, which is like a nearly 9-minute long bit of epic death metal. Great way to finalize the album. So, yeah, it's fantastic. I love the golden embossed logo as well. Great cover artwork. It's a nice gatefold. There you go. There's your demon hanging upside down. Looking really good. Got the lyrics there. Take a quick look inside. Again, I think there's probably some color variants. Not too sure. I got this one off Amazon. This is through Tank Crimes, and nice purple, which is just the color they had. So, yeah. Necrot. So good. Anything else in here? Ooh, there's a little thing down here. What do we got? That would be Bandcamp code, which I think I've already used, so no point showing you that one. But yeah, fantastic album, which I'm now re-sleeving. There you go. Get in there, you Lifeless Birth. Necrot. Lifeless Birth. Another stonking album for 2024. Fantastic death metal. Best album from the band so far. And quickly, I'm going to mention, just because I was on a bit of a Necrot thing and I was browsing Amazon Australia, which every now and then I do, just browse randomly by going to the category and just go, yep, vinyl, metal, order by cheapest, what do you got for me? And get surprised at the stuff that they bring into the country. And for 30 Australian dollars shipped to my door, which is an absolute bargain, I got the first Necrot, which is Blood Offerings. I already had it on CD, but as I had the follow-up album on vinyl and now got the new one on vinyl, I'm like, nah, may as well complete the trilogy on LP. Sold the CD on, and yeah, I picked up the original, the first album, the one that got me into the band. And it's another nice gatefold. So yeah, I'm not going to go over the material, but yeah, just wanted to show that I did pick up the first one off Amazon, red, and yeah, it's just the Tank Crimes again. So on one hand, Tank Crimes it seems like a label that is hard to get distribution. I don't know anyone locally that seems to get them consistently, except someone like Amazon. That's a huge multinational thing. They seem to get them. And not only can I, with Lifeless Birth, I imported it and came from Amazon America. It took 7 days, quick as. But this thing was in the Sydney warehouse and I got it the next day. I'd love to know how that happened and why it was so cheap, 30 Australian dollars. Anyway, that's the first one, Blood Offerings. So pick any Necrot you can. This is great, Lifeless Birth, whatever, Necrot. The next two are some gore grind reissues that I really wish I had to show on my recent Carcass Clones video. Go check that one out. If you haven't checked it out, please do. I was really happy with that video. But I have to thank Jeff from Mendicant Media for hooking me up with this one. He frequently orders from this label, FOAD, and the shipping for just a couple of things was pushing it, but doing a combined order, it didn't really adjust the price at all. And I got to experience having my records thrown in the sack, which he's talked about before. Such hilarious shipping method they use at FOAD. They put it all in boxes and they put the box in a giant padded sack. Maybe they've had some bad experiences in shipping, but yeah, it works. You don't get any problems. So anyway, the one I'm talking about first is Dysentery with Bring Me No Tears. I think I did talk about this one on the video, but it's not one I had a physical copy of. I used to have the CD of this in the way back. No idea what happened to that CD. I actually have no recollection of where it went, but I don't have it. Now I have the LP, so the timing on that was fantastic. It's never left that CD until now. So yeah, this is their 1993 album, Bring Me No Tears, and is basically a German take on necroticism mixed with symphonies of sickness. It opens up with a drum pattern heavily inspired by Corporal Jigsaw Quandary, shall we say. Definitely been listening to that. You know, it just has the double kicks and the snare, and it does that sort of pattern with not much else going on. Yeah, well, you know where they got that one from. But really, this is a little bit of Carcassception again when I'm listening to this. I hear more sort of pathologist than just straight Carcass, so we're already one level down. And it's really, really good stuff. I was really thrilled that this got an LP and a nicely done LP. They're loose and muddy sounding. They're generally fast, but they're not blasty. Dual raspy vocals, as you'd expect, with pitch shifted lows. And I think you'd really, really enjoy this one if you're into pathologist. I don't see why you wouldn't enjoy Dysentery. Very kind of similar stuff. Also, maybe the second album from Flesh Grinder. Some of the weird kind of riffs that they come up with. There's a bit of that weirdness that comes through here too. And the vocals, when the raspy vocals on here are very similar to Flesh Grinder on Splatter or Splater. So yeah, good stuff from Dysentery. Great name too, Dysentery. Always loved it. The CD originally came out on Lowland Records in 1993. And I think that was the only press. So yeah, as I said, I had this in the late 90s, early 2000s. No idea what happened to it. I don't know. Probably got muddled up in some kind of trade somewhere. I don't know. But anyway, thrilled to have this. It's a really great sounding press too, so that's excellent. The tracks are exactly the same as the LP, as the CD, sorry, but got some bonus tracks chucked on as well. And yeah, take a look in. We get just a sort of booklet thing here. There's the band being very goofy and young. Older logo. Nice photos from back in the day. Go playing the gig. Good stuff. Jeez, they look at this guy because he's about 12. Even tries to look like Bill Steer. The other side of it. And the LP just on black. But quality stuff. This really, really good. And about the only thing that's changed to the layout is the CD is inverse. It's black on white, and they had a letter type font for the logo. I'm actually happy that they used the demo font, the demo logo here rather than just a font, because it's far more suitable. They should have done that back in the day. But anyway, Dysentery, bring me no tears. If you really dig your carcass worship and your pathologist kind of bands, yeah, you should check them out. And the other one I got from FOAD, thanks to Jeff, was one that I talked about and did show on the Carcass Clones video. And I said, I'm pretty sure I said at the time, I really wish I could get a copy of this. Now, the tracks, yes, you can get the tracks on a compilation CD, but, you know, that doesn't count. I wanted an actual release of this thing, and they must have listened to me, because Carnage, the Day Man Lost demo on vinyl, now also added with the second demo, Infestation of Evil. And they've kept the same demo artwork, just made it bigger and made it fit a square. It's fantastic. Such a good reissue. Really, really happy with this thing. So this is, like I said, a Dayman Lost demo. It's also got the rough mix version of the demo. I'm not too sure what the go is with that rough mix. It is quite rough. It's got the Infestation of Evil demo that came out the year after. And it's got some live tracks from a gig that was done in whatever it was, like 89 or 90. Let's actually say 89. Which has basically, you get all those demo tracks, pretty much all those demo tracks, plus you get Dark Recollections, which is more familiar if you actually follow the band onto their full length, which was called Dark Recollections, and opened with the title track, Dark Recollections, by which point they just full on Swedish death metal at that point, very much sounding like Dismember, because it basically was a Dismember album that didn't go out under the Dismember name. That was the whole story behind that. But at this point, the band were essentially trying to sound like Symphonies of Sickness and Reek of Putrefaction, and they did a really, really good job. So yeah, it's a full year before that really infamous full length came out on the Croesus Records, which was on Jeff Walker's label. But really, what you got on here is filthy gore grind. In that, like, there's not many bands to pick from yet. Kind of. He only had really Carcass at this point, and maybe a bit of, I don't know, Impetigo. That's kind of your lot. And Carnage, yeah, just definitely went straight into the Carcass and gave it all they've got to come up with a Reek/Symphonies clone here in just a handful of tracks. Would have been great to hear them do even a longer EP that had a few more tracks in this style, because when they went to Dark Recollections, it's very different. It's not like they went black metal or anything, but they definitely went more Swedish death metal with your HM2 sound and all that kind of thing. But here, it is just fuzzed out, and the further you get into the LP and you get into side B and you start hearing those live tracks, I mean, they're done from the crowd. There's people laughing in Swedish. You got no idea what's going on. But it's great. It's a great little time capsule of early Carnage before they found their full sound. So yeah, really, really good stuff. But again, I would say this one is, as Brutal Truth would call it, for drug-crazed grind freaks only. You need to know that you're getting into demo quality stuff here. And if you listen to that sample I did on the Carcass Clones video, yep, that's what you get. Pitch shifted vocals, or at least very deep. I'm pretty sure they're pitch shifted. Mixing up the fuzzy sounding D beat with some, not quite like lightning speed blast, but they're pretty fast. And yeah, like I said, the live material sounds like it was recorded in the toilet. Whatever, it's a good comp and good stuff to have from Carnage. So take a look in here. There were color variants for both this and the Dysentery. I just went with the black. Didn't seem right to me to have color. But you get a nice big book here. So that was the cover of the demo. And take a look. Oh, I've got two things here. Hang on. There we go. Got a bit of a nuclear explosion there. Stuff about the band. That's the logo that you would see a little bit later. There you go. There's the demos. Tracks. Info there. Interview. I mean, this is about as comprehensive as you're going to get. There's a gig flyer. Great. Oh, look at this lineup. Carbonized over there. Nosferatu. Carnage headlining. Young kids. There's a Mr. Ammett over there. Incredibly young. Just killer. Really great stuff. Like I said, for drug crazed grind freaks only. Get a poster as well, if you wish to put that up. So awesome. Yeah. If you really want to hear where Carnage came from and you like your Carcass clones, you will not do wrong with the Dayman Lost and Infestation of Evil compilation from Carnage. Great stuff. Next up, we have the first and, as far as I can see now, final full length from a relatively new band that's come and called it a day already, unfortunately. I'll talk about that in a minute. This is Septage with Septic Worship, Intolerant Spree of Infesting Forms, which is a great, great title. Do I need to even tell you what you're getting with this? Hello? It's pretty obvious what you're getting here, but anyway. Yeah, it's a shame this band called it quits. Just a few days ago, they posted on their Instagram, but in the stories. So I went back to check, and stories have expired, and they've not posted it elsewhere. But they have said they've called it a day. I'll get into that in a second. But anyway, the band's only done 2 7-inches, which were really good. They did a split with Hyperdontia on a tape, I think it was. All of that stuff you can get on a compilation CD, which is what I've got, which is great, and this full length. And that's it. That's your Septage. And it's a real shame here because what you get here is top tier Regurgitate style gore grind. So that story they posted, it was like, I hate these story things, honestly. I do a couple myself, but really they come and they go, and then 24 hours later, it's like it never happened. But they said that they can't continue without their vocalist Tobias, so they're calling it a day. Don't know any more than that, what's happened to Tobias, or if maybe Tobias wanted to leave the band, so the rest of them folded. I don't know. But yeah, Tobias is the vocalist. He does some real putrid sounds in this thing. It's all pitch shifted to hell. But yeah, not too sure on the real story there. But the other 2 members of the band are in Hyperdontia and Tymvos. So they got plenty of things to keep them amused. This was always a bit of a side gig to Hyperdontia. But as for this album, yeah, Regurgitate meets Undergang and a bit of early Autopsy, and that's what you get. It is just putrid riffs that go from grindcore to swampy death metal. I think it's surprising for some people. You look at this and go, yeah, I know what I'm getting. I'm just going to get, the Oath of Black Blood. No, not that one. I'm going to get, I'm talking about the other one with blood, the Regurgitate first album, not the Beherit. My God, no Beherit here. But yeah, you get early Regurgitate and that kind of thing, Dead Infection. But there's a lot more, I guess, swampy, groovy kind of stuff going on here too, which I think throws a few people. I think it's great. It's a great mix. Keeps it really interesting. The vocals, like I said, are pitch shifted and they sound like a cement mixer. Amazing. Why? Why you got to go do that anyway? Doesn't sound like a car horn. Sounds like a cement mixer. And it's glorious. Fans of Miasmatic Necrosis definitely need to apply. At least give this one a shot. It's less, not as consistently blasting the whole way through. Like I said, there's a few more dynamics in this. But still, it's all over and done within 20 minutes. It is, bottom line, it is gore grind, it's grindcore. So yeah, Septic Worship, Intolerant Spree of Infesting Forms. The band on the back there, looking a little bit more embracing their death metal heritage than being a hilarious gore grind, to be honest. But they still fit in a spooky, like, acoustic number to ride out one of the tracks on side A. So even in 20 minutes, they've got some the oddball things chucked in there as well. So yeah, it's not a long investment, but it is a very fun and gory one. Great cover artwork too. This is another one a little bit like early Carcass, where you look at it and go, hang on, it's not all what it seems. It looks like you've got a skull going on here. Yes, there's some teeth, but really, I mean, it looks like some kebab meat or something going on here. You can't quite work out what's going on. There's some maggots here. There's your kebab. I mean, there's literally kebab meat there. It's just, it's all over the shop. And then you got, like, toxic waste dump over there. People, that's your septic, septage kind of thing. The septic tanks, all the sewer, people going through the rubbish. It's a real collage of just filth. I think that's what they're going on for. Look at that. Yuck, drinking water. Lovely. Anyway, we'll take a look inside. I got this one locally. I kind of regret not jumping on the MSUO version. It's just black, but the MSUO direct version, which Jeff showed on his video, is a sort of pinky. It looks like a colostomy bag or something. It looks amazing, and, like, I'm not a color vinyl guy, but man, that one was definitely a Should have probably gone and got that version. Got that flyer again. So I've got 2 of them. That's nice. And ooh, a sticker. I didn't notice that. MSUO sticker. Didn't pick that up before. But there you go. There's the inner, which is a sort of poster thing as well. Oh, we're upside down. I can't tell with these filthy collages. Look at that. My God. All over the shelf. And then we got like lyrics that are all hand scribbled. Really creative. I like that. There's the band down there. Good stuff. And yeah, I think that's all there was. And black vinyl and the stickers that fell out. So yeah, Septage, Septic Worship. It's a shame the band are calling it a day already, but you know, if you're only going to do one full length, you may as well make it a really, really good one. And they have with this one, Intolerant Spree of Infesting Forms. Good stuff. Maybe they'll change their mind one day and come back. But for now, top quality debut and final album from Septage. Speaking of having gory fun, let's have gory fun with this absolute classic of the genre. Oh my God. Hemdale and Exhumed, they're split from, when was this? It's in the 90s, 96 or something? Yeah. I thought I wrote it down. I didn't write it down. But anyway, it's from like 94, 95, 96, something like that, mid-90s. And it's an absolute classic. Yeah, 96. First time on LP. The CD came out in 96 and is a split between just 2 pioneer gore metal, gore grind, death grind kind of bands here. It's called In the Name of Gore. It doesn't really say that. Does it say it on the spine? It does say it on the spine. It never really had it on the cover. They put it on the back there. But what do I really need to say about this staple except for both sides completely rule? If you like Exhumed, this is some of their best stuff. Hemdale, if you're not too familiar with Hemdale, they absolutely own this thing. This is their best tracks. They're a band that's never done a full length, unlike Exhumed, who've been churning out lots of full lengths, still a really good band. But Hemdale never really did a full length. You can get pretty much all their tracks, including these ones, it's got to be said, on the Rad Jackson compilation CD Relapse put out. That pretty much gets you 99% of everything the band did. But man, this was meant to be heard as a split album, and Hell's Headbangers have done such a great job with this. As I said, Hemdale at the top of their game with their best tracks, and an amazingly heavy. No one's ever really been able to reproduce this sound as heavy as Hemdale have here. Miasmatic Necrosis is definitely getting close to it. But what they did here, Hemdale, it is brutal, it is thick, it is as heavy as a boat anchor. Don't know how they produced it, but my God, this is a dominating sound. The guitar tone definitely did inspire Miasmatic Necrosis, that's for sure. The dual vocal attack on this, I love the vocals. They're really quite unhinged, a lot of screaming. The title track on it, well, not title track, but the first track, Delicious Gory Fun, is outstanding. It's all memorable. That's another thing about this, is Hemdale's tracks are just all memorable. Overflow is a fucking punishing song. The hilariously titled It Burns and It Just Plain Smells Bad. What a great name. Another banger, like the whole thing. And you know all these tracks, like most of them, it's about 90% of them. There's a couple that are just short little blasty things, but 90% of them are just unique little like time capsule tracks from Hemdale here, and can easily be thrown onto a compilation of some other, like, just, you know, whole bunch of your favorite gore grind bands, and you'll know when you get to the Hemdale track because of those riffs. That production is so good, and particularly if you included one of the ones with the hilarious samples. That's another thing people love about this album, is there's hilarious samples on the Hemdale side. Particularly there's one which I won't go into the full of it because they're all a little bit sleazy and a bit salty, a bit spicy. But I'd love to know where they came from. I've never worked it out. They're clearly from movies, and some maybe from a documentary or something. But there's that one about the two sound like hillbillies at the petrol station wanting to buy some certain magazines. And it's just a great conversation between them. Hell, I don't like wasting my time on those. They don't show nothing. It's such a good... Anyway, it's great. The Exhumed side is no slouch. Like I said, it's some of their best work as well. Their most raw stuff that you could pretty much get in a produced format. They did a lot of demos. Exhumed have been around a lot longer than you think. They kicked off in like 92. I think I touched on that in the Carcass Clones video. But on here, this is their 96. We're not long into it, but we're still a couple of years before Gore Metal. That came out in 98, the Relapse full length, the debut, which that's where I jumped on with the band. I didn't know anything about this at the time Gore Metal came out. Gore Metal came out when Relapse was just pushing everything. It was Nile and Dillinger Escape Plan, all that kind of stuff. Bam. Human Remains, all that kind of good stuff. And Exhumed was another one. So I've known Gore Metal for ages. The sound is getting pretty close to Gore Metal, but it's one step back. It's almost like the well-produced demo kind of stuff that you would get to Gore Metal. It's very raw and ripping. They don't really sound like they do these days. They've gone really more. Yeah, well, ironically, the first album was called Gore Metal, and it was their closest to gore grind. Now, really, they're playing more gore metal. It's more death metal with gore themes and horror themes these days. But they were still big on the grind back at these times. Yeah, it's unmistakable with the vocals there from Ross Sewage and Matt Harvey in the early days. I think Ross took a break somewhere in the middle. I think he's back with the band now, but yeah, their dual vocals style is like, it's unmistakable. Like, you always hear it. You can always tell who's who with these guys. That's why it was a shame when one of them left in the middle period of Exhumed. It's similar to like your Jeff and Bill Carcass trade off, and also your Nile kind of three-way vocal splits that they did in their early things. Like, who's who, and their vocals are very unique to them. That's the same with Exhumed here. And whenever I think it's Ross, whenever he's going, I'm like, oh, I just want to put on an Impaled album now. It's so good. But anyway, this is basically a perfect split. There is nothing wrong about this. It is essential if you're into gore metal, death grind, gore grind. It is absolutely essential. I will say that. And Hell's Headbangers has done a fantastic job in rebirthing this thing. It's never been reissued since its CD in '96. It came out on Visceral Productions. Long out of print, hard to get. Will not change hands for less than $50, that CD, usually up to the more the 100 range. And ironically, after I was looking for that CD for years, when this thing got announced, I had the opportunity to pick up the CD. Like, man, I'm just not going to bother now because I'm going to get the vinyl. So here we are. And it's such a great edition. Great work by Hells. And yeah, I went with the black. There was, again, color variants. 400 on black, apparently. 500 on red and purple. 100 on clear pink, black, white, red. And none of them really sort of, I don't know, sung out to me. So I went with black. Yeah. There you go. There's Mike there from Hemdale. He's on the guitars. Look quite young. I love how they use the kid photos. It's so good. But yeah, Matthew Rositano on vocals and bass. His vocals. There's some live videos of them playing tiny little gigs, and it's just amazing. Yeah, that's some delicious looking meals down there. That's the Hemdale side. There's Exhumed, looking like absolute drunken yobbos. Amazing. Yes, yeah. It's great. It sounds great. Must be... I didn't do a time check on this thing, but you do have to put the volume up a little bit. They must have got a lot onto this to fit it in. Maybe it's sort of like 45 or 50-minute CD. I didn't check into it, but yeah, they fit a lot, Hells did, to get this in. So you got to turn it up a little bit, which can sometimes have an impact on the sound, but I'm very happy to say it has none whatsoever. It's just, maybe it's just a quiet mix, I don't know. But it sounds fantastic when you have it punched right up. So yeah, Hemdale and Exhumed. In the Name of Gore. Classic split. Two fantastic bands. Amazing. Keeping it extreme, but actually going very different with this one, adding a bit of black metal into our sound here. We have the new one from Antichrist Siege Machine, Vengeance of Eternal Fire. Whew, this is a blistering thing. If you're familiar with this band, then expect no sharp surprises here whatsoever. It is another short and satisfying slab of bestial black death. If you don't know the band, much more similar to Revenge than they would be someone like Blasphemy. But really, I'd say I put them in the same sort of basket as Profane Order. That sort of modern band with that bit more modern production doing that sort of Revenge style, just bestial black death. It is, yeah, these guys know what they're doing. They do it so well. Ruthless, cutthroat, savagery in a very short runtime. So the drummer of Left Cross. It's a band I know that I'm not actually very familiar with. I should probably check out some Left Cross. But here he is on drums as well as vocals. Now, I don't know if these guys play live, but I can't imagine playing this stuff on drums and doing vocals at the same time. That's a feat if that's the case. Maybe there's helper monkeys when they play live. I don't know, but wow, it is ear cleansing stuff, and they come out of Richmond, Virginia. And I say yet again, like I know what the hell that means. It's somewhere in America. Meh, I don't know anything about your country. But this has got way more change ups and variations than you might think for this kind of style. Mostly in the way that they start and end the song. The middle of most songs is exactly what you're expecting, just that blitzkrieg attack with those sort of processed vocals, not pitch. I don't know how pitch they're, but they're altered in some way, and that's what these guys are always doing. But it's really sort of the stuff around the seams of each track is where it might be slower or add in some dynamic kind of shifts or whatever. But in the middle, it's just it's cylinders. They're firing on all cylinders, but not only that, they're borrowing some cylinders from a mate and they're just firing with them as well. It's just straight ahead, nasty, loud, fast, evil. This is all your gas masks and machine guns and bullet belts. It's all of that stuff, and it's really top notch. I'd say, like, here's the back of it. I'd say a track like Cowering Lamb on the end of side A is probably the kind of thing that stands out the most because that one slows it down, gives you a bit of a breather for the end of that track. But yeah, otherwise these guys are just going for the jugular the whole time, which is what look at them. You look at that, the name of the band, you know what you're getting. Yep, and you're getting it. It's great. Sometimes you want more subtlety in your death metal and your black metal, but yeah, sometimes you just want those gas masks and bullet belts, and that's what these guys give you. Look at them. Absolutely giving it to you. Leather jackets and spikes, it's all of that good stuff. And they do it in just over 25 minutes. So it's in and out really, really fast. Great cover artwork too. If you dug Purifying Blade, the album before it, which I really did, you're going to like this. There's no real difference. It's just more of the same. I don't say that in a way that's negative. I just say it as you get what you paid for. So be happy with that Antichrist Siege Machine. We'll take a look in here. Get poster, which is the guys. Got some sunglasses on there, which is very blasphemy, I've got to say. There's your machine guns. There's the lyrics, poster lyric sheet. Pretty cool. You got to hold that huge thing up. You want to read the lyrics. Anything else in there? Nope. And the vinyl, I just went with black. I don't recall if there was color variants, but yep, just black on that one. So, yep, exactly what you expect. Evil and nasty and rapid fire stuff here from Antichrist Siege Machine. Vengeance of Eternal Fire. Really good. Next up, we have the latest and the fourth full length from this, I think, quite underappreciated and unknown death metal band out of Denmark. This is Deiquisitor with Apotheosis. Say that a few times fast. Apotheosis. This is really, really good. The band have always been really good. I've been following them since, I think, since pretty much day one. And not many, people just don't talk about them too much. They're a little bit like Drawn and Quartered. They've been around forever, and only some people talk about them. I get that with Deiquisitor. So it makes me happy sometimes when people do mention them and they say similar things. I know Melanie from Melanie Loves Death Metal called that out a while ago as well. That very underappreciated, unknown kind of band in seemingly in the same kind of Denmark circles as a lot of the other big ones. You got members of Ulcerot in this thing, and it's just dark, twisted death metal, and that's what they play. I mentioned Drawn and Quartered, heavy inspiration, clearly obvious here. That Dead Congregation, a little bit of adversarial to a degree. It's just blasphemic and evil sounding death metal. And yeah, even this one, like I knew this came out at the end of last year, but I was finding it a little bit difficult to get it. I was waiting for copies to come locally. It never happened. I don't know. Then I had to go directly to Extremely Rotten Productions to get it, and that adds to the shipping cost and that kind of thing. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe the distribution's not always wonderful. I'm not too sure. No one locally I know got this thing in, so that was challenging for me. But yeah, here I am. Yeah, 6, 7, 8 months later since when it came out. I'm not entirely sure, but finally got this one. And like I said, I've got all their previous ones. This is their fourth full length. I've got the other 3 full lengths on CD. I've got 2 or 3 EPs in there as well, also on CD. Got quite a discography, been going for some time. But yeah, I got the new one here, and no, it was May. Came out in May, so that's May is when I got it. I should say, not when it came out. It came out last year. I got this one in May, and yeah, I've been playing it ever since. It's more of the same, but it's great. Yeah, as I said, I got the others on CD. I don't know. I went LP on this one because that's what was there, and bigger cover artwork and it's a bigger disc to play. Just so sue me, whatever. I broke my format tradition of keep it to the one format if you've already got stuff. But whatever. Here we are with the new one. What you get, it's very sort of mid-paced, dark, evil death metal with moments of sort of slower doom, some blasty kind of black stuff in there, but never your rapid fire sort of grind blasting. Just amp it up a notch, do some fast, heavy things. Yeah, just such a good sound. Very suffocating experience listening to it. There's no great solos and things like that. The leads stay quite with the rhythm. Like it does have moments, but it really is just about giving you those punishing dark death metal tracks with great artwork, which is, I always love their artworks. They're all very, not hugely similar, but they all have very similar color schemes, like this sort of grey or bluish hue to the grey, browns, greys, blacks, that kind of thing. There's no bright green Deiquisitor cover artwork with a clown on it. There's nothing like that. It is. It's always giving you this kind of dark, evil, twisted. I mean, look at this thing. You've got. I don't know what's going on here. All these symbols are either somewhere between ancient Egyptian or futuristic alien. Eyeballs, biomechanics in the head. I don't know what's going on, but it's amazing. Apotheosis. Yeah, they really are such a solid band, and I wish more people would talk about them. Yeah, anyway, hopefully I help and get you guys to check out Deiquisitor. And some of their CDs were on Dark Descent, which I think at the time those albums came out, one album and one EP. I think the Humanoid EP came out on Dark Descent. Got a little bit more promotion because Dark Descent's really good at promoting, but yeah, now we're sort of on Night Shroud and Extremely Rotten, and it's just a little bit laid back. I don't know. I just don't hear people screaming from the rooftops about Deiquisitor, which whatever. It is what it is. Great band. Yeah, it's 9 tracks in just under 40 minutes, which is, if you go back to their last full length, was 9 tracks in just under 40 minutes. So consistency is key with this band, and they're really good. They're just solid. There's the guys. The first track on it is Humanoid, and yeah, it's great stuff. Evil, dark, suffocating death metal. Doesn't try to be anything else. It's on black. Lyrics, logo, lyrics, thanks list. That's it. Great stuff. Another great album. And a strong entry point. There's no problem jumping in here. If this is the first time you've ever heard of the band, jump in on Apotheosis if you like that dark sort of immolation, Dead Congregation, Drawn and Quartered especially, I think. You're going to like this stuff. So check it out. Apotheosis from Deiquisitor. One of the big ones I did have from my Carcass Clones video was this particular band. This is a band that, again, Jeff from Mendicant Media has talked about. I think he put them on his favorites of last year, or maybe it was the favorites of the year before, because I know I've been definitely trying to get this for some time, and I finally did. I got this from Extremely Rotten when I got the Deiquisitor. Sick Sinus Syndrome with Swarming of Sickness. Do you have any idea what you're getting here? Really, do I have to? I mean, look at the logo. It even basically is the same font design as the old Carcass logo that Jeff Walker drew. Yeah, you're getting gore grind. Hello, it's not hard to see. This is really, really good. Early 90s sounding gore grind. Has a bit of a twist, though. Not exactly your Carcass clone, 100%. They definitely are, but there's a few different things going on here. Particularly what I like about this is that it's a more newer band, but it's not a newer band as in a bunch of 25-year-olds trying to play gore grind. This is a bunch of older guys who have played gore grind making a new band. So this is members of Pathologists, who I've talked about already, and Malignant Tumor, bands from the early 90s, and they've just gotten back together and said, let's do it again. Mixed forces and Sick Sinus Syndrome. So it sounds completely authentic to what they would have done back in the past. The only difference is the drummer, has not been in those kinds of bands. He's in 1,000 bands, but was at some point in Heaving Earth, doing a lot of their CDs around their middle period. So yeah, the lightning speed of that guy. If you've heard Heaving Earth, combine that with Gore Grind from the '90s, yeah, you're getting a pretty impressive album here. Swarming of Sickness, very punchy sound to those drums. Has more speed to it than Pathologist. This is getting into that regurgitate hemorrhage style carcassception again, I think. Dead infection as well. Lots of dead infections. So yeah, we're looking a little bit like the sort of the Czech and the Polish bands, I think, and the Swedish bands. We're not just going straight carcass worship. Despite that logo, we're one level deeper. D beat followed by blast, followed by dirt, dual guttural and pitch shifted and just dirtiness all over. You know what you're getting. You get what it says on the tin. Look at that cover. I mean, the cover is just total reek, symphonies, everything, pathologist. It's just all of it. It's amazing. But the thing that stands out for me with this is, okay, look, there's your Symphonies of Sickness font, right? Anyway, what stands out for me is in pretty much every track, they break up that D beat and the grind and they put in like a groovy bit. And the groovy bit, with a bit of melody in it, kind of reminds me of Impaled. And as I've sung from the rooftops many times, Impaled a top tier band for me. So to hear a little bit of Impaled, that kind of sound in your early style gore grind is just chef's kiss. And I can see why Jeff loves this thing so much. 21 tracks, 28 minutes. Kind of like epic length for gore grind. Honestly, it's usually the other way around: 28 tracks in 21 minutes. But no, they put a bit more length and thought into their songs, a bit more structure, not just 30 seconds of blasting. So yeah, but it absolutely gets you where you need to go at an obscene and in a nice gatefold. There you go. There's the guys. As I said, 2 out of 3 older guys, and then your younger guy from newer bands. I don't know if he's younger, but he's definitely from more modern bands. Take a look inside here. You get very glossy and thick thanks list there. And the lyrics, again in your Symphonies of Sickness font. I do like that font. And just the LP on black. So good stuff, man. You like your gore grind and you like the modern bands, give it a go. But you want to hear old farts doing it? Yeah, Six Sinus Syndrome. This is their sophomore. I need to get their first one. That's all they've done so far. Hopefully I can get the first one as well, because this stuff rules. And that is it. That is the update I'm going to be showing today. This is 12 records we've just gone through of some death metal, some death grind, some gore grind, some blackened death. It's all death. It's all horrible. It's all nasty, and it's all what you want. So I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please like and subscribe. Check out this thing. Check out this thing. I'll see you next time.